Coming up on Network Africa, Libya's Mitiga airport is shut down as fierce fighting erupts, killing 20 people. Police in Khartoum, Sudan, fired tear gas at demonstrators protesting against the soaring cost of living. And Zimbabwe's parliament is to summon former President Robert Mugabe over missing $15 billion in diamond revenue. Welcome to the program. I'm C.A.R. Rogers. We begin in Libya, where the airport has been shut following fierce fighting that broke out in the capital, Tripoli. Reports say at least 20 people lost their lives while planes were damaged. The Libyan government describes the onslaught as a failed attempt to spring militants from a nearby prison. It's described as the heaviest fighting Tripoli has witnessed for months, undercutting claims by the internationally recognized Government of National Accord to have largely stabilized the city. The violence also undermines the party's efforts to persuade diplomatic missions to return there. At least 4 other aircraft suffered what appeared to be lesser damage from gunfire, including 2 jets operated by Libyan wings and 2 Burak Air Boeing 737s. An operation to secure the area is still ongoing. Meanwhile, 3 Congolese soldiers have been killed while repelling an attack in the eastern Beni region by Ugandan Islamist rebels. Over the weekend, DR Congo announced an offensive against the group, which was created in the 1990s to oppose Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni's rule. The Ugandan army has been conducting airstrikes and attacks against the group, which is accused of killing 14 UN peacekeepers from Tanzania in December. And in the Central African Republic, thousands of people have been displaced by fresh violence in the Pawa region. A medical charity group, Doctors Without Borders, says members of 2 armed groups engaged in violent clashes, forcing more than 30,000 people out of their homes.
Violent clashes in the Pawa region of Central African Republic have displaced thousands as fighting between members of 2 armed groups broke out last year. Medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières, MSF, says that a group called Revolution and Justice and the Liberation of the Central African Republic people clashed on December 27, and the violence has intensified since. More than 30,000 people sought refuge in the town of Paoa from neighboring villages. Some of the displaced found shelter with local residents, but many complain of a lack of food and water.
The food is not enough. How long can we eat this for? It's not enough compared to what we used to eat at home. We want peace to return so that we can go back home. What World Food Programme gave us can only sustain us for 2 or 3 days, but it is not enough.
Lack of funds had already forced aid workers to have food aid and in some places stop it completely, despite widespread malnutrition in children under 5 years old. Officials said they have treated at least 13 people from Pawa, but that many people have died on their way to the town.
The problem today is that it's an unusual conflict, because it's a conflict where people are either injured or killed in the bush. Especially those who could not reach safely in Pawa have most probably disappeared in the bush. Most of the people who failed to reach Pawa are either dead or injured and hiding in the bush. We have not seen them.
According to the United Nations, the violence has driven over 500,000 people from C.A.R. into neighboring countries and displaced an additional 600,000 people within the country. C.A.R. has been plagued by conflict since March 2013, when mainly Muslim Seleka rebels seized power, triggering reprisals by Christian too. triggering reprisals by Christian anti-Balaka militias.
Police in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, have fired tear gas at demonstrators protesting against the soaring cost of living. This comes after government authorities threatened to use force to crush the protests. Several people have been arrested and beaten with batons. Earlier this month, at least one person was killed during protests against the doubling of the price of bread. The Sudanese economy has been struggling since the South seceded in 2011, taking with it most of the oil output the country produces.